Everyone is talking about the Bitcoin dominance, but what about the Cronos dominance? Well guys, let's talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only Coin Baron, and honestly comparing the dominance of Bitcoin and Crow is let's just not talk about it. The honest truth is that Cronos will probably never ever hit the highs of the Bitcoin market cap. But then it still remains very relevant to take a look at, well, the relative strength of Bitcoin versus Cronos. Because I think over the time span over the cycle, well, we can learn a few things of it. So let's go to the charts. One of the comments I see the most is that, well, Cronos will probably lose in Bitcoin value. It might actually get a new all-time high in US dollar value, but it might not actually hit its old all-time highs in Satoshis. And also, I think this chart over here, that kind of tells you the same story. So actually, at the actual launch of the coin in 2019, we hit an all-time high in Bitcoin value. And then in the next, well, part of the cycle, in the bull cycle, 2020, late 2020 and 2022, well, we tried to actually break it again, but we couldn't even get close to it. So yeah, overall, this tells you the story of, well, lower lows in the Bitcoin value. But I don't think it tells you the complete story, because actually what I saw over here, so this was, I think, the most important part of the previous bull run, is that we tried to hit a new all-time high in 2020, so late November 2020. But let's take a look at what actually the Bitcoin price did in late November of 2022, or, well, late 2021. Because what happened in late 2021 is first, well, we were near the 60,000 level for the longest time. But as November was ending, it became more and more clear that Bitcoin was really in a downturn. The bear cycle was about to begin. And overall, well, the timing seems to be very, very unfortunate, because this was actually a time in which Crow was getting a lot of momentum. But as the market is screaming, no, we're going down, well, altcoins are hit even harder. And so was Cronos. Of course, in this scenario, I'm using a lot of what if. So what if Bitcoin would actually have maintained 60,000 or maybe even broken through the old all-time high? Would Cronos have had the same momentum? We will unfortunately never know. But I think this is something we have to take into consideration, that maybe in the next bull run, when Cronos has momentum and Bitcoin maintains at least its current position, what will happen in that scenario? That's something I'm really curious about, and I hope to see in the next bull cycle. Okay, enough about what if scenarios. On the charts, guys, what we see, that is reality, and that is what we need to talk about. And as I've pointed out in previous videos, well, we are very close to the all-time low in a Bitcoin value, and we shouldn't actually break that, because, well, then shit hits the fan. That scenario, though, in my opinion, is looking less and less likely. And that's mainly due to something, well, we have seen also in a different video, and that's we have seen a trend change. So let me draw this. So this were the lower lows that we have seen until April of 2020. Let me make it a bit fatter. So as you see over here, that is, or here actually, that is where we left this trend. We actually broke out. And we can even draw something like a falling wedge over here. And as you see, we have a few touching points on this line. Yeah, a bit like more like this. So we do see over here a falling wedge pattern. And normally this is not a continuation pattern. So in my opinion, we might still retest this line over here, because it is, I think, still a support line. And we're not out of the woods yet. We might even see something like this happening. So right now, we're over here. So we might actually retest this trend line and then go up again. But that is not the most likely scenario, I think. Overall, what we can do with these falling wedges is check the difference between these two lines. So the entry part, really, the start of the falling wedge. And let's make it a bit bigger even, because it actually got this large. And then at the breakout point, that will be our first target. Should be something like this line over here. While the target that I just shown is very bullish, I do need to warn you that probably what we might see is that Cronos is stuck on the same level for a very long time. And that is, I think, also the biggest danger. Cronos might be stuck while Bitcoin is moving. So that is, I think, where we might actually retest that old trend line or the lower all-time high. So that is something I don't think you should be scared of, but something that you should at least take into consideration. I can also show that on the charts again. Right now we're looking at the charts of Bitcoin on CoinGecko. And if we zoom in over here, in Feb of 2021, you do see Bitcoin is making big moves, even hitting like 50k already in February 2021. So you might expect that Cronos is also doing great. However, we actually see the opposite on the charts. So let's zoom in a bit. So February 2021 over here, we do see actually we get the dip. That is where we hit the actual all-time low for Cronos versus Bitcoin. So that is quite surprising. After that, that is really when Cronos start to shine more and more, but it remains on this flat line for a long time. So might we hit another all-time low when Bitcoin is going to an all-time high? That is still very much possible. What I'm personally focusing on though is, well, the fact that currently Cronos is relatively cheap compared to Bitcoin. And I do think, so we hit this level, this all-time high for Cronos. We hit it 1, 2, 3 times. So will we hit it a 4th time? In my opinion, that is very likely. And therefore, I think it's worth investing into CRO. But of course, I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm curious what you guys are doing. Let me know in the comments down below what's your cheapest point in which you bought Cronos relative to Bitcoin. And of course, if you like this kind of content, also let me know by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel, of course. But that's me, I'm the Coin Baron, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then.